Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, and I'm joined once again by my good friend Vubang. What's up, Vubang?
What's up, Patrick? Welcome back from the All-Star break. Did you also go to, where is it that Jimmy Butler went? Was it Venice or Santorini?
I thought he went to. I saw on his
Dubai.
Dubai. Yeah,
Right.
I saw on his
Sorry,
stories
Dubai.
that he went to Dubai. And that he mentioned that he got his workouts in at their nice gym facilities. I think that was just for PR's sake, but but good on him. All right, second half. Technically, I think it's what 27 games, so it's less than half. But 27 games left in the season. Draymond Green said the Warriors going to win a championship. We all know that Draymond just likes to talk to make some news and get some eyes and eyeballs and earballs on his podcast. So let's just go with it. What do you think of that? His prediction.
I love the confidence, right? Before the trade, like the whole conversation was, what are these guys good enough to do anything? Like we were talking play in, but like literally we got the guy who brought the Heat to the finals when nobody thought the Heat would get to the finals. Granted his age and everything, but like anything that gives Steph a fighting chance, right? I think the most interesting thing that was said though during the All-Star weekend though is the justification for why Steph and Draymond have been bought in to the Warriors not trading everybody to put all their chips in for the last 2, 3, 4, or 5 years of both of these guys, is that they want to continue in some form or capacity with the existing organization. And so if you think about the trajectory of the whole organization, it's not just about Jimmy Butler this year, next year, and cough 2026. It's about this team continuing to be able to compete every year, even as Steph joins ownership, I'm sure, and Draymond becomes a head coach after Steve Kerr retires on top. It's great. I love it.
How do you think Steve Kerr feels about this? I mean, I'm assuming that he knows Draymond maybe got offered this, unless Draymond was told behind someone's back and then talked about it. And then what do you think about that?
You went to the games when everybody was injured and the Warriors were the 2 years, right? When Eric Pascal, I always mispronounce the name. Our best player was Eric. I call him Eric Pascal.
Yeah, it's not Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
Eric Pascal.
Yeah. Pascal, whatever, right? Like he was the best player, and you've seen pictures of him now, right? Like you saw what Steve Kerr looked like when he was coaching those teams.
Yeah,
he has probably openly talked about this with Draymond. Like there's no way he's coaching after these two guys are gone, right?
I can at this point I can see that unless something really took off with Kuminga and he became like this guy that Steve Kerr wants to finally play, but I can see him riding off into the sunset because everything Steve Kerr does and has done is based around having Steph and all that. And at the end of the day, even though I've criticized Steve Kerr a lot, I do appreciate who he is and what he's done for this team and how he's changed how he brought his offensive system to Steph and the Warriors. But I'm also good with like changing it up, and as much as I've talked about it, I'm tired of Draymond talking all this jazz. Just maybe I'm at a point in my life where like entertain me, damn it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like show me something like wild and weird and interesting and new, and Draymond coaching and, getting ejected every game, breaking clipboards every game. I get Jordan Poole back on the team, man. and we'll see some fireworks. I'm here for it, man. I'm here to see how that all plays out.
I'm very excited about this year. I'm very excited about next year, but also I'm excited about like the 5-10 years now, just knowing that everybody sort of bought in. I want a Spurs. I don't want sort of like an owner, like like the Suns or the Nets, all these teams that are just chasing the 1 year and the 2 years because they're not that successful. I want the
Yep.
teams that are consistently have a foundation that could land a player through free agency, that can draft really well because they have the assets, but also have a place that people want to play. That get that
Hmm.
a team that players are drawn to, and I think we have all of that right now. And I don't think Steve Kerr is going to be around forever, which is fine. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've talked about how like, comparing the Warriors to the Heat, Heat have this culture that's founded in Pat Riley and then Spoelstra. Uh ownership is ownership over there. But for the Warriors, I've talked about in the last couple of years how they don't really have that kind of culture. They have a culture that's based on one guy, Steph, right? So like if Steph is part of ownership, then that makes me feel good because then he is the culture, right? And he's allowed for everything to happen around his basketball playing ability and his kind of persona and his leadership style, as quiet as it may be. But if he's uh, uh, in ownership, obviously that doesn't guarantee too much, but at least it would I would hope in my mind that it would help with free agency, make the Warriors still a destination because we see it all the time. It's like the Lakers, LA is a destination, New York's a destination, Miami's a destination. But look what happened to the Bulls. I mean, they're, major city, but people forget, especially younger fans, they forget that like, as much as we love the Bay, like it's not necessarily a place where people used to flock to all the time. And granted, that was ownership of like the Cohan era. So hopefully, Lacob spends, he does his thing. And hopefully Steph can be a part of that. And if Draymond's the coach, hopefully he doesn't drive people away. Maybe we'll just get a bunch of clutch clients. Maybe we'll get peak Bronny James when he's 32.
I remember. I mean, I might have mentioned this before, but I remember back when the Warriors were terrible, and there was player surveys about where they would play if things were just geographically,
Hmm.
regardless of whatever team or coach, whatever. And the number one place for everybody was Golden State. And granted, I hope this wasn't long ago, long enough that it was sort of like during the times where the team was playing in Oakland and people were just doing really bad things at the Oakland Marriott that I've heard about.
To me, this guarantees some intrigue. And I think if Steph is in ownership and Draymond is coaching, I mean, there's kind of familiarity, like security blanket type thing. It's almost like a sequel to a sitcom, to be honest. If they do that, this younger generation, and then the original cast of characters become the old heads. So I would definitely tune into that, especially if guys like Kuminga and Pajemski and Moody are still around. What's your prediction for the rest of this season? Where do you think they'll land?
I mean, I'm hoping 6 or 7, right? So I'm that's what I'm predicting. I'm
Yeah,
going to predict
yeah.
6.
I actually did a YouTube poll about this. What do you think of Draymond saying the Warriors will win the championship this year? 38% said he's right. It's a whole new season now with Jimmy Butler. 15% said dude's crazy. They're better, but they have way too many flaws. And 46% said don't know. Don't know. But Draymond will legit say anything to get attention. That last one can be true no matter what. I kind of tend to fall in the they'll be a lot better than people expect. They're in the 10th seed right now, and they have to dig out of that hole. But you can't compare them to the team that they were like 3 weeks ago. And not saying they're going to be it's night and day, but it's let's say night and like early morning. You know what I mean? It's like
I
we'll see.
I mean, there's two things I would say. The first is that Jimmy Butler hasn't played the first half. Like this is the
Yeah.
perfect situation. This is like bubble Lakers, right? He hasn't played. I mean, he still has to play in his shape, but we can get a full on Jimmy buckets for the rest of the year, hopefully. And if we just disregard the Thunder, Grizzlies, and Nuggets because we just really can't go after them, the Rockets in fourth place are 3-7 in the last 10. The Lakers are, I mean, depending on where you think the trajectory is, like some would say the Luca is kind of going to take some time to figure out. The others are going to say it's going to be great. The Clippers, I mean, I still don't believe in them. If there's entire articles written about Norm Powell being basketball Jesus, like I don't know what's going on there. Um, like I just saw two articles. It's like, do I want to spend the next 10 minutes reading about Norm Powell? The Timberwolves, which I don't really trust at all. The Mavs, I playing above where I think they should be. Is that weird that they've been playing so well compared to with AD being out and trading away Luca? I thought they would just go 0-4, whatever that should have been. The Kings, I don't trust because, I mean, I I I don't trust the trades that they made, and then the Suns are 3-7 in the last 10, and KD's pissed off. Like they have pissed off KD. So if you look at just all that, it's just wide open in the middle part of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's always about who peaks at the right time. And if the Warriors' three old heads are healthy and Kuminga gets into rhythm relatively quickly, and he kind of blends in well with Butler, uh, then I think they can definitely make that move, right? It's like we saw in 2022. Not saying that they're going to win the title, but like guys were injured, Steph, Draymond were injured, and then they peaked and they had a favorable set of matchups on the way to the title, and they won. And then a couple years ago, I think it was when the Warriors lost to the Lakers in the playoffs in that 7-game series or 6 game, I forgot what it was, but I remember I think the Lakers had made a trade mid-season and they were terrible before, and then they had the best record in the final 30 odd games of that season. Again, not it's just is different, right? It's different. Like Steph is going to be more energized because he doesn't have the mental burden of, okay, I got to do this all over again. And he can mentally rest, he can physically rest. So again, I'm just want to be entertained, you know what I mean? And see something interesting. And much like the Lakers, it's also about next season, how this team looks the rest of the way and how they decide to fill in the gaps and retool, and what moves, whether on the fringes or big swings, can happen in the offseason. So hopefully they just prove something. Hopefully Kuminga proves something. And I think Moody and Pajemski are proving something. And I mean, Kuminga, has always proven something. He's ahead of them in my opinion, but like he also has to prove that he's worth the contract that he wants still. You know what I mean? Because those other guys, what Pod's still on his rookie contract, and Moody, man, that guy signed for cheap, dude, for NBA standards, man.
Yes, all that. I mean, I feel like we're on the cusp of something, and we keep on thinking about the cusp of all these guys. I mean, this is a make or break end of the season, right? I do
Yeah,
I do think that I mean, there are other teams that want Kabinga. He's probably a better fit on like four other teams um, than the Warriors, but at the end of the day, Steph got his second guy. Like, how many players out there were going to be the perfect complement to Steph and be that second playmaker scorer? Jimmy had a over 40% 3-point shot just 2 years ago.
right.
It's there. And I would actually trust him. Who would you trust shooting the three more? Draymond? I'm comfortable with Draymond shooting the three now, mostly. It's not like on the Andre Iguodala years, but like, do you trust Jimmy Butler or Draymond to shoot the three now, considering
Oh, Jimmy
he likes
Butler.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and Draymond's totally tailed off in terms of his 3-point percent. I trust Butler more than Buddy Hield, just because I don't trust Buddy Hield for anything. I don't think any Warriors fans do. And when he hit a bunch in the contest, I was like, hey, save those for the game. You know what I mean?
And he's still, I mean, that was exactly Buddy Hield, like streaky, killed it first part of the 3-point shooting contest, and then lost to Tyler Hero when it mattered. Like, I feel like that's Buddy Hield in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I think of our prediction episode again. I don't remember exactly, but it was like, you know, I would not have expected this complete. Though, like if you told me this was what the roster was going to look like come the final stretch of the season, I'd be like, "What? Are you serious? Like,
Would you be
we had
surprised?
Dennis Schroeder, and like we got rid of
Oh, and then he's
everybody."
gone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Like I
true.
was like, we started off with Melton, and everything was promising, and Heald coming off the bench, and Kyle Anderson is like, somebody who could play in Draymond's spot if Draymond gets suspended again, and then all of a sudden is like, it's like, oh, okay, here, you got Jimmy Butler instead and no Wiggins. I'd be like, awesome, great, how much are we paying him? But there's clear lines, as I've said in previous episodes, that that's another thing I like about this trade. It's like there's no more, Wiggins kind of hazy, like 30 years old. Sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. Like, what's this roster? It's like, here's your three old heads, your leaders of this team, and then here's some young guys who are up and coming. Let's see what you can do, So, yeah.
Like 10% of me is just expecting Wiggins to show up tomorrow at the Kings game because that's how unreliable I think he's been in terms of like making me see that he's in the game. Who knows? Part of me is like, is Wiggins playing for the Warriors? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm very interested in seeing what Heat culture, like he is like total test for Heat culture. I can't wait. That video of him like playing the drums in Miami is so hilarious. I've watched it 5 times so far. He doesn't even want to play the drums for the Heat. I can't wait for Heat culture.
Yeah, love Wiggs. He'll be okay. But you're right. It'll be interesting to see how he adapts. I mean, he was jacking up shots his first few games, right? He's doing like 1 for 14 and everything. So
I've always wanted the Miami Heat ransom note jersey, and so right now I'm deciding whether or not to get a throwback Jimmy Butler one or a current Andrew Wiggins one. Which one do you think I should buy and wear around the Bay Area?
So you get a Miami Butler jersey?
No, that's the question. Should I get a Miami Butler jersey or should I get an Andrew Wiggins Miami jersey? Which one is funnier?
I mean, I think the Wiggins Miami one is funnier because then it's like
I've been a Wiggins guy.
Yeah, yes. That you got it after the trade. You could have just been like you could have had the Butler jersey like from 3 years ago, right?
That's true, yeah.
But like, if you get a Wiggins one, it's like
it's fresh. It's got the tags on. Yeah,
yeah. If you go to a game, you should wear it, and then like if you get like in the lower bowl area where you might be on TV, you should wear it backwards. So it just says Wiggins on your chest.
When you say like how NBA fans now follow players and not teams, the thought of like hit my head like the NBA fan that is like a Wiggins fan and not a Warriors fan who like there must be at least one person who's been like a Kansas head and like had to buy a Timberwolves jersey and they got a Warriors jersey and now this guy's got a Miami Heat jersey. Like who is that Wiggins head? Like he's from
and they also have like a Cavs Wiggins jersey from like the day he was drafted in the trade.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, that would be hilarious. Yeah, this is the actual Wiggins hat that he wore during the draft.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but you can pretend to be that guy.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Pretend. I'm gonna go online and buy one right now. I've always wanted that Miami Heat ransom note jersey.
I did a poll on the YouTube channel, and I said, "Are you tuning into All-Star Weekend in the Bay?" And exactly 50% said, "Hell yeah, hasn't been in the Bay in years, so definitely not missing it." And then 50% said, "Nah, I need a break from the season. It's been exhausting." So, which side of the fence did you fall on, Vubang?
I did what I normally do, which is I watched all of the 3-point contests live, and I watched the dunk contests via highlights because I don't like the missed dunks. For me, I've been thinking about going to all of these events since it was first announced, like 4 or 5 years ago. Did not know I would be married with a child at this point. I would have normally gone to all this. I had tickets to the All-Star practice from a friend and had to politely turn them down. Didn't realize it was going to be like a big WWE type event where everybody's getting introduced before practice. It looked like a lot of fun to be back in the arena. But yeah, all that to say is like I did not watch the actual All Star game, but I will at some point. But yeah, for some reason, for me, I always have to watch the 3 point contest live.
Yeah, yeah. You watched more than I did, to be honest, because I fall along the lines of, nah, man, I'm exhausted. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season since we got Butler, but I needed a break from all the mumbo jumbo. I did see part of the Rising Stars tournament. We had it on in the background. And for like the basketball court, that blue basketball court, I was just like, oh man, are they playing on like it felt like an outdoor rubber court to me. I don't know, like that's kind of what it looked like. But I missed everything. What'd you think of the dunk contest, man? That's something that like every few years it's good and then it's usually bad and people complain.
I saw a lot of great memes about McClung about how like he makes more money off the dunk contest than actual games, how they roll him out basically to get into the league from the G League every year just right before to make it to the dunk contest. I think they need to do some sort of incentive. And I know risk injuries and all that, but you need to have the best players in the NBA doing this. I mean, how many times do the Warriors have a legitimate dunk contest participant and a 3 point contest participant on the roster, knowing of course JK was injured. He just never I don't think he ever addressed it or anything. But like next year, Buddy Hield, Kaminga, like let's do it.
Yeah, a few years ago, I thought of when we had Kuminga finally, or when we drafted him. I was like, my dream is it's like four participants. I forgot how many they have, but my dream dunk contest would be Kuminga, Edwards, John Morant, and at the time it was Zion Williamson, but I don't really think so at this point. I'm not sure who that fourth person would be, but I think those first three would be fascinating. I think Kuminga would be interesting because I don't know how creative of a dunker he is, and he's a powerful dunker, but I don't know what he has in his bag. So I'd be curious. I would love to see that. And that's the bummer about this, right? Like I feel like I don't know when they announced who would be partaking, but I feel like he would have been awesome to see just in front of the Bay Area crowd to see what that would be like. But who knows when marquee players will be willing to do it again besides I don't even know who else was in it besides Mac
Did you
McClung, man.
did you see how like I guess it was on Twitter. I don't know if it was real or not. I guess I have to check, but like John Morant had like basically called out Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine about coming back for the dunk contest, and I don't remember John Morant being in that dunk contest. Is
He
that
was in
just
it. He's saying he
no,
was
no,
in
no? I
it.
meant like
Oh,
no, no, no. He just implied that he was like he would do it if the other two guys were doing it. Obviously, he's too young for it, but like
yeah.
just
Yeah, yeah.
like he would do the dunk contest if the other two guys would come back to do it.
Oh, well, I mean, I would love to see that, but I don't know what kind of. I mean, I've seen Zach LaVine dunk. He still has something, but I don't know if he could do the crazy dunks he had before. I don't know if Aaron Gordon could do it at this point. He can obviously still dunk, but I don't know if the creativity or the competition level. But like, I think definitely John Morant and Anthony Edwards, like that would bring a lot of eyes just
Yeah,
because I want Morant to do it before he loses his athleticism with some kind of like leg injury or age or whatever. But I did see Mac McClung's dunks when I went on Twitter. I was like, that's
it
how
was
I
nice.
watched this dunk contest.
It was
And
amazing.
I mean, it's impressive, man. The one where he jumped over whoever that was and then banged it off the front rim. He was pretty much eye level to the rim, and then he dunked it. It's crazy because he's not like he's like what 6'1", and he doesn't have the like crazy long arms or anything. So it's like he has to get up there, especially if he's going to dunk with two hands, and then And then the jumping over the car, I always thought the Blake Griffin jumping over the car was BS because he jumped over the hood of that
Hood,
car.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I
And it was a
I don't
Kia
know.
too, so that's a
Yeah,
small
yeah.
hood.
And this dude jumped over the car and he kind of he spilled afterwards, but like he legit jumped over that car. And I was like, dang man, this guy's I remember watching his high school highlights, man, and it's like, wow, this kid's got something. But obviously he hasn't stuck in the league.
It was just really nice to see those dunk. I mean, I was actually very surprised that I was actually entertained by the dunk contest. And so, I mean, it's great for dunking, but
Yeah.
imagine after that, I watched the top dunks that got 50s over the past, like, whatever, 40 years.
Hmm.
Every year they get more and more complicated, right? The Dominique Wilkins ones were like in-game dunks, right? And then they get crazier and crazier and crazier. So at this
Yeah.
point, everyone's like, how can you come up with something new and creative? And every year there's something new and creative. So I mean, I think that they should just get people to help coordinate these dunks among all of the actual good players,
Hmm.
and just get, like, I mean, you get somebody to actually coordinate it all and choreograph it. Fine. That's what it really is about. It's about the creativity part.
Yeah. Can you imagine though if something got so complicated and somebody actually really got hurt, and that would be like no one would ever do the dunk contest again. They'd ban like props or whatever. But do you remember like
Getting
when
props is
Steve Fra
fine.
you know
Yeah.
when remember when Steve Francis, like they had like that wheel of fortune type thing, and it's like there were different dunks, and then you spun the wheel, and then you have to do dunks that you land on. And I mean, he was a great dunker, but like he wasn't the tallest guy. He was like 6'3", and he didn't have the biggest hands. And so I think he had to do like a Dominique dunk, and it was kind of messed up. But
I'm
I mean,
surprised about the stuff they got away with in the past few years. Like the past, I think beyond 10 years ago, there's all sorts of gimmicks and all sorts of stuff. Um, yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it was funny also seeing the Cedric Ceballo dunk again and knowing now that he could see through the mask. Like you could totally tell through the
Right.
blindfold. Like it was pretty
I
clear.
know.
And he just
That's
beelined straight to the rim.
I mean, like, at the time it was kind of unbelievable too. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. The
But
D Brown one though, I did have a D Brown dunk poster. I mean, that's what we really want, right? If do kids actually have posters anymore? I hated the Celtics, but I had the D Brown dunk poster on my wall.
yeah, I don't know if they have posters. I don't have little kids, but I think yeah, I mean that was fun too because even if you could see a little bit, it was like at the time it was the beginning of some creativity before the actual dunk. You know what I mean? It's because like the dunk itself was one thing, but like what happens before you take off and doing the Reebok pumps and all that. Did you watch any of the like games on All-Star Sunday?
I did not.
Yeah, did you? I
I'll
didn't
watch it
know.
eventually.
I didn't
You didn't
know
know
there
about
was
the
like this
format?
tournament set up. When did they decide this
I watched the
funkiness?
draft on TNT when they drafted all the players, and so I thought it was cool that Shaq was doing an old head draft. I don't know why I picked Tatum with those picks, and then I think it was Kenny who was drafting just so randomly.
I didn't see it. I don't know when they decided it. And I know Steph, he's obviously gonna, as long as he makes a few crazy long distance threes, he's gonna get MVP. So it's kind of set up for him, I assumed. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't really care. And I
And
mean, there's all this uproar and chatter about like it's boring, it sucks. You got to change it to make it interesting. What's your thought on that?
I think it's interesting to do something different every time because the old way to do it is not working until, like, okay, let's reword this, right? Until they make the game East versus West, and whoever wins gets home court advantage in the finals, there's literally nothing else you can do to get the players to participate at the way that we want it to, like during the Jordan years, during the Kobe years. Like, will we ever get there? Like Major League Baseball. I don't know if Major League Baseball still does it that way. The All-Star game decides who gets home field advantage. But until that happens, I mean, I'm curious to see if you think that would be worth it.
Uh, I I do and I don't because I think it's a little bit of an arbitrary thing to put on the teams that battle so hard because home court advantage to me means more in basketball than it does in baseball. So I don't know if the players would be down for that. And imagine if the a team wins like 70 games in like the East, because I always assume the East is worse. They come in at like 62. Like I think it'd be unfair to give that East team home court advantage.
But I also
And
don't think if the East is easier, if the East is always worse, the All Star. I mean, look at the East All Stars.
yeah, I mean that could be true too, but at the end of the day, I mean, here's the thing, like, I mean, you mentioned Kobe and Jordan. It's like I will push back on that, and I've said that the All-Star game has always been a dunk fest. Also nowadays in the last several years, a three-point mid-court, half-court shooting contest. It's always been loafing and no defense until the final 2 or 3 minutes if it's a close game. It's always been like that. People talk about Jordan and they talk about the Kobe days. No, they show highlights on Instagram and it's like that's the end of the game. You know what I mean? Like people have always like messed around. Jordan used to take the fine and not show up to all-star activities until the game, he'd go play golf. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, we all know it's just a big marketing, event.
I
And so to try to like put this like, oh, make it competitive for the fans, it's like, it's marketing, man, and it's not anything else. It has no impact on the outcome of the regular season. And players at this point are beat up, and like I'd be furious if old Steph, old,
yeah,
old
got
ass Steph
injured.
got hurt. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you want them to play like meaningful basketball minutes and have somebody like, contest somebody at the rim and then come down and tear an Achilles or something like that? Nah, you know. I think that there's
I,
almost a competition now about around the complaining, and that's the event, the complaining.
I completely agree with what you're saying. I don't think I'd be behind making it more competitive. I do think that maybe when I was younger, this might be true for you too. I cared a lot more about the All Star game. I don't know if kids
Yeah,
these days care about the All Star game. I think taking away the East versus West takes away a bit of the competition. This arbitrary like selection of players makes it kind of weird unless there's a
yeah,
system. I heard somebody talk about like if you're gonna have four teams, the fourth team shouldn't be the Rising Stars. It should be the All Star Snubs, which would be hilarious.
yeah.
Like, can
That's
you imagine?
funny.
It's like next up,
Yeah,
the next up 10 guys gets in. I mean, they would kill. Like it would be like
yeah.
Jimmy Butler with all the scrubs against Jeff Teague and Cat, everybody
But Jimmy Butler
in
would
the
take the
rules.
fine and go to Dubai.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
I think there's ways to improve everything, but I think in the fringes, let's just say it this way: the most interesting thing last year was the Sabrina Steph shoot contest, right?
yeah.
But they
Which
didn't
I
do
still
it
haven't
this year
seen. Yeah,
because they were supposed to do it this year and include Caitlin Clark and Klay Thompson. They said Caitlin Clark wanted to do her first 3-point shooting contest in the WNBA All Star, but I would imagine Klay and Steph aren't like on the best of terms right now based on their very short hug at the Mavs Warriors game, too. But like that's a
maybe.
pretty fun creative thing that happened. And why not? Why do you need tradition and everything to be the same every year? Why can't they just mix it up every year depending on the city that you're in? Why
Yeah,
not?
no, I mean that's actually a good point, a good idea. I like the snubs thing. I've also seen people talk about, like the 12 oldest all-stars versus the 12 youngest. I think
Ah,
that's kind of
that'll be
funny
hilarious.
and interesting. So yeah, I think there's ways to mix it up. I mean, it was always just like the thrill of seeing your favorite players and the best players from other teams, like, on the same team. But I feel like players move around so much. It's like we see all these guys play together all the time on all these different teams and whatnot. But yeah,
Can I
so
can I
yeah,
talk about what I really want to talk about the All Star game?
sure.
I've been waiting for this All Star game for a while, right? Ever since because I've been I had always wanted to go to the 2000 All Star game in the Bay Area,
Mhm.
at the Oakland Arena. I've been waiting to buy the money ball from that year, and it's just like hundreds of dollars on eBay. So I'm probably going to buy the one this year, which is on sale right now at Wilson.com, because that's how much I love the All-Star logo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm have always been and will be just so confused and annoyed with how the Bay Area is marketed. Like, I knew this would happen and I knew I would get disappointed, but like, whenever there's a whole YouTube video with E40 and Too Short about the Bay Area, and
Yeah.
everybody makes it seem like the Bay Area is literally Lake Merritt and the Golden Gate Bridge. It's just like, those are two cities in 101 cities in the Bay Area. And they talk about how there's this whole theory about everybody gets behind the Warriors because it's the Bay's team. And some guy's saying it like literally in the same block at Lake Merritt that is like featured for the entire video. And it's like, if you want to be so inclusive, like, can you just have one shot? That I remember the Warriors had this intro video way back in the day that was like a basketball that went to every single major landmark in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
went through like the wine, the
Yeah.
vineyards, and then
I remember
through
that.
San
Yeah.
Jose. And I thought it
Yeah.
was super cheesy, but like it was good. Like, all of the people who show up to the games came from those places, And
Mhm.
so I love Lake Merritt, go there all the time, but like, how many Warrior fans are actually connected to Lake Merritt? And I'll keep bringing up the fact that before the Warriors were good, I could not watch a game in downtown Oakland because no bar or restaurant would play a Warriors game. I would get laughed at the entire time when I was searching for a restaurant to play a random Tuesday Pacers Warriors game. So
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
if this is a Bay Area team, make it a Bay Area team. Thank you. I'm done.
Well, putting my producer hat on, I'd say that, you look at things that are iconic, right? And at least for, I mean, Golden Gate Bridge, whatever, enough said. Lake Merritt, they had their parades around there. Okay. That's where the parades were. And so people find it somewhat nostalgic or something. So, but I get your rant, man. I get it. I totally get that. But, I also am just like, you know, it's, it's just marketing. But
Sure.
I
Yeah.
get you.
If it's marketing, then like, I would also say that the entire generation of quote unquote new Warrior fans have no idea who Too Short and E40 are. Like, they literally perform and people are like, who are these guys now? Like, the 12-year-old Steph Curry fan did not grow
Well,
up listening to Too Short.
well, I mean, they know him now because he's the guy that sits close to the Warriors bench and all the retro stuff. But anyway, no, I can definitely appreciate that, man. And also they probably wanted to be like, oh man, we don't want to drive out to Napa for this, or like, I mean, I
That's
guess that's
true.
not the Bay Area, but like, you know, um, anyway,
That's true. But I just want to shake a 12-year-old and just be like, 240 is from Vallejo, by the
you
way.
said 240,
And
bro.
also, I mean, I'm E40, 240, Too Short, and E40. E40 is from Vallejo. I think he lives in Mountain House now too. I think he's in the Far East Bay.
Okay, I don't even know
But
what
yeah,
Mountain House is. Where is that?
I don't know if Mountain House is actually technically the Bay Area. It's like Far East. It's like east of Pleasanton. That's where they should be filming this stuff. Pleasanton, Livermore. That's where everybody got pushed out to. They were used to live in Oakland.
Yeah. They should, call it the Far East. Um,
I call it the Far East Bay as a
I
joke.
like that. I like that. I'm gonna help make that a thing. The Far East
240s,
Bay.
240s, their new is it totally should be their new rap group. Like, it should be
I'm gonna
like the
write that down, man.
superpower.
That's a funny bit,
Yeah.
240 and E short. Anyway, all right. So give me a prediction for the Kings game because this is probably gonna come out the morning of the Kings game.
Is it in Sacramento?
I believe so.
Like it matters. Yeah, it's in Sacramento.
Are you
I
gonna
mean,
make me use the internet?
yeah, it's in Sacramento. I mean,
Okay.
9 days rest. Jimmy Butler just came back from Dubai. Like, I think we'll be fine. I mean,
What's coming as timeline?
Other than Sabonis, like, trying to prove that he should have been an All-Star, I don't see why the Kings would beat us. But
What's Kuminga's timeline for coming back?
I mean, he's playing on the practice squad, right? I don't know if it's 5-on-5, but I don't think
Yeah.
they'd rush him to play in Sacramento. But let's see what the next game is.
It is Sunday at home versus Dallas, Tuesday at home versus Charlotte. Sometimes those Charlotte type teams are the good ones to come back against, but
I'm gonna
we'll see.
say I'm gonna say Charlotte, yeah, because the Mavs game is pretty. I mean, the Mavs game is at 12:30, so I think that would
Yeah.
mess up people's routine. So I would say he's gonna come back against the Hornets.
Yeah. That's the jersey retirement for Andre, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're giving
And
out Andre Iguodala pins.
do you think they're gonna boo Joe Lacob?
Uh, After getting Jimmy Butler, I don't think so.
Well, I just remember there was a lot of chatter. It's so funny, like on Twitter, people were like before the trade, when everyone was wringing their hands, it was like, oh, he's gonna get so booed, and uh, and then like, and then I went on the Athletic. Sometimes I go in the comments, and I was like, y'all think he's gonna get booed? And some people were like, what kind of lowlifes would boo Joe Lacob? And I was like, man, the people that comment on the Athletic versus people that are on
The
Twitter
people that pay,
are
the people for that
yeah,
pay for their
people that
media.
pay and that read the New York Times, I guess, versus like people on. It's hilarious because the guy was really, or whomever it was, very
I wonder if that guy was
pearl clutching.
there. I wonder if that guy was there when the Oakland Arena booed.
Yeah, I don't think Lakers can get booed because for one, the fans are probably like his VC peers, but
Yeah, their
it's
prototypical
different
fan
for.
does not know who Too Short, who 240 is. They don't. They spent $10,000 on a seat and $20 on a hot dog. They're not going to boo
Right. Yeah,
Joe
it's not the
Lacob.
same fan base that booed him during the Mullen retirement. And also, yeah, he has made moves. So he like the Butler thing was good. So, I'll probably try to tune in for that one. I like a good midday game.
I'm actually going to be watching. I mean, this is a good indicator, right? I'm going to be watching every game
Yeah.
from here on
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like before, it was like, do I want to do this on a Tuesday? I'll do the highlights. But like, this is exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
this is pure basketball excitement. So
It really is, and I've said this, it's like the media entertainment part of the Warriors. It's like media entertainment company, and I've said for the last 2 years throughout all the Draymond drama, I was like, for Christ's sake, I just want to be entertained at this point, and not have this be such a slog of off the court and on court like BS. So I'm tuning in, and
with
Lacob, you got me. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. I'll check you out soon.
thank you.